Hi everyone, welcome back to the Book Cave with me, Jenny. It is time for my September wrap-up. I didn't read as much as I wanted to, but then I also kind of feel like no matter how much I read, I've always wanted to read more. But yeah, I've got a few books for you here, so I'm just going to dive right into that. The Dungeon Anarchist's Cookbook is book number 3 of Dungeon Crawler Carl, and this one takes place on the 4th floor of the dungeon, which is known as the Iron Tangle. And yeah, this is again just as crazy as the first two. We do get some more information about a character we were introduced to in book 1. We also see a character that we met at the end of book 2 get a lot more growth. We also see a lot more growth for Carl and Donut themselves, and I enjoy getting little bits of the back history of previous dungeons and then the people who are hosting this. We learn a little bit more about their politics and stuff. And this is just a really interesting, zany world that I feel like it could go overboard very easily, but so far at least it hasn't. And as with the other ones, I'm super excited to get to book 4. Just the way these all end with the little introduction we get onto the next floor has turned out like really, really well, and I just find very intriguing. A Master of Djinn is the first full-length P. Djeli Clerk book that I've read, and this is set in the same world as The Haunting of Tramcar 015, and I really liked this one as well. Like, the world is very imaginative. We have Djinn, goblins, fae that are all mentioned. I do wish we had gotten a little more into, like, their history, but this was still a very fun book. It was very fast-paced, had a very good mystery element, and while I did feel like the characters could have been more fleshed out, their interactions with each other I really liked, and I really liked the description of like all the buildings and the food and the people, and it just really felt like a fully realized world, which really kind of was, because this is more magical realism than anything. It is set in our world. But yeah, if you enjoy any sort of like magical mysteries, or either of those by themselves, I do feel like this would be a good one to try. I started the Magnolia Parks series this month, and I will say I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I think knowing before I started it that it was a pretty toxic, drama-filled relationship did help with the enjoyment. It actually reminds me a lot of the manga Nana. It has, a lot of the same kind of relationship, friendship, drama. I will say, however, that I liked the characters here a little bit less. I started out at the beginning, I did like BJ, and I thought like he was pining for Magnolia, and like I just really liked that. And then we got further in, and everything just kind of spiraled, and yeah, I don't like him anymore. Magnolia, I've come to like her a little better. I started out just kind of thinking she was a little bit shallow, only cared about appearances and stuff, but she did get some depth as the story went on. So yeah, overall, I would say this is one you read more for the drama and just kind of what's going to happen next. Ghost Eaters was creepy as heck. Yeah, the beginning of it with the description of a centipede crawling up Aaron's leg, that is like my worst nightmare. I absolutely despise centipedes, millipedes, spiders, anything like that. So yeah, it basically just started out giving me the heebie-jeebies and kind of continued to do that throughout the whole story. I made the mistake of starting listening to this at 3 a.m. in the morning when I was the only one awake in the house. So yeah, I did enjoy it though. Like, I do enjoy a good creepy book, and this is one that basically follows a group of 4 friends. We follow Erin mostly. She is our narrator. Then she has Amara, Tobias, and Silas. And they all kind of went to college together and are coming of age and different things. And Silas has always been kind of like the leader in the group and will decide what they do and like get them into trouble and stuff. And yeah, that went somewhere I definitely didn't expect it to. But basically, it then, after it follows them, it also follows the creation of this drug called Ghost, which will allow you to see ghosts. And yeah, just the way this was written was just really interesting, really twisty and turny. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. If you like horror, you would probably like this. I did enjoy this more than the other book I read by this author, which was Wake Up and Open Your Eyes. I felt like this one also was more of a traditional horror, and also definitely had some body horror in it as well. But yeah, if you do decide to read it, especially listen to it, don't do what I did and start it at 3 in the morning, because you will definitely creep yourself out. Will Prescribe You a Cat is a book that was translated from the Japanese, and it follows 5 people who are having a difficult time in their life for one reason or another, and they find their way to a clinic that will prescribe them a cat. And it seems like most of these, I believe, are for 10 days. And so it follows them learning about the cat's personality, how to deal with the cats, and kind of healing via interacting with the cats. And I found this a very sweet little book, and I loved seeing all the different personalities of the cats, and I loved seeing how the characters grew and kind of, solved, or at least started to solve, the issues that they had. And yeah, it was just very sweet, and I kind of did see the ending coming a little bit, as that did kind of make sense with the different hints we were given. There is 3 more in this series. I do know the second one has been released in English, and that's Will Prescribe You Another Cat. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'll have more to enjoy after this one. But yeah, if you like cats, if you like kind of cozy literature, I feel like you would like this. She Drives Me Crazy is definitely a YA romance. This did focus very heavily on the fact that these girls are in high school. I did, however, feel like they felt realistic in the fact that when Irene spoke to Scotty, although she did have her moments where she might have gotten overly upset, she did stop, take a step back, and like compose herself in the way that like I feel like young adults would do. And I really did enjoy the dynamic between Scotty and Irene and how their friendship and then romance blossomed. And there were some cheesy parts, but it was a fun cheesy. And I did also really enjoy all the side characters, Honeybell and Danielle and all of that. And I really enjoyed seeing Irene's mom and Scotty's mom and dad and sisters. And yeah, overall, I just felt like this was a very cute book. I do wish that it had went further on in time, because this does take place in the senior year and it ends like in February. So I kind of wish it would have went a little further on, maybe to graduation. But I did feel like it was a very cute, cozy little read, and the whole like fake dating thing and enemies to lovers was done very well and was very cute. So yeah, if you're looking for kind of like a a lighter read, I do feel like this would fit that bill without being too light, if you know what I mean. I listened to The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy this month, and I was a little disappointed in it. It didn't have quite as much action as I thought it would. It was definitely higher on the romance part, which was just okay in my opinion. And I do feel like it's very obvious this was originally a fan fiction. Like, there are just so many parts that kind of read that way and are obvious callbacks. I just really have mixed feelings about it. I didn't despise it, but I was definitely disappointed by it. I finished volumes 5 through 9 of Summertime Rendering this month, and this one really ramps up the mystery, really brings more of the characters' backstories in, increases the stakes. Like, we find out so much in these volumes, and it just continues to be a very interesting story with a very interesting premise. And I'm really not sure how this is all going to end, but I'm definitely excited to finish up volumes 10 through 13 in October to just kind of see where this all goes. So that's everything I read in the month of September. Let me know down below in the comments, what did you read in September? Let me know, have you read any of these books? Or do you plan to? If you did read them, what did you think of them? I always love to hear from you all in the comments. And of course, I'll have my Discord, Goodreads, Fable, and Bookstagram all linked at my end card. And as always, thank you for being here. And I will see you next time in the book cave.